welcome back to Swiss Family Fun. I'm Tanya, and today, as part of our Swiss Family Cooking series, I'm going to show you how to make traditional Swiss Christmas cookies. So today we're going to make not only one, not just two, but we're going to make 6 Christmas cookies. And the reason we're going to do that is because they're basically made out of the same ingredients. So we've got 2 categories. We've got the butter sugar cookies, and we've got the ones that are made out of ground nuts held together usually by tape. So if you want to skip straight to the recipes, I have a link in the description below to our website with a post that has the recipes for all of these and detailed instructions. But now we're just going to talk about cookies, and then I'll show you how to make them. So I am originally from California, but I live in Zurich, Switzerland, and I have done for 15 years, and we became Swiss citizens last year. So we have taken on a lot of the Swiss culture. Of course, I make my American Christmas cookies as well, but it's nice to incorporate these new traditions, and I thought it might be fun for some of you that have lived in Switzerland before, or for anyone who's traveled here, especially over Christmas time. So it's fun to take these traditions home. So there's tons of videos and tons of recipes online, but they're all in German. So even for me, I have to go translate everything. So I've done that for you, so you don't have to do it. So which cookies are we going to go over today? So all the traditional ones. These, you can get them at any grocery store, you can get them at any gas station, any Christmas market when those are going on, not in the COVID year. And you can, at the grocery store, you can also get all the dough pre-made and then just bake them yourself, which I think a lot of people do. But we're gonna make them from scratch today. I compared tons of recipes. Here, I'll show you. So I make these little spreadsheets where I write the name of the source and all the ingredients and then compare. And they're basically the same. In general, I am using Tip Top. This is the cooking book that all the Swiss kids get in middle school when they do cooking class. Very simply written. We're basically going to use this as our guide. First cookie, Zimtstern. So this is my son's favorite out of all the Christmas cookies, and it's really the only one I regularly make at home because we really like it. This one is made from ground hazelnuts or almonds, and it's cut in a star shape, cinnamon flavored, usually has a little icing on the top. They are supposed to dry for many hours, up to 24 hours before you cook them. And the first time I read this recipe, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. It seems like I'm going to get sick. It just didn't seem right. I cooked them right away, and then I also cooked them dried. I have to say dried was slightly better, but not entirely necessary. So you can make the decision for yourself. Okay, we're gonna start with the eggs. So we have 2 egg whites and a pinch of salt. We're gonna whip those. So these are now whipped up to snow, that's what it says. And now we're going to put in the powdered sugar and whip that up as well. So you just barely mix in the powdered sugar, so it's just all mixed together and glossy. And now we're going to add in the nuts. 350 grams. We're going to put in the cinnamon. I'm also switching to the paddle instead of the whisk. Whoa, too fast. That only took not even a minute. Now I have this big mass, and we're gonna roll it out. So now we have the dough, and we're gonna roll it out. There's these cool rolling sticks that I got here. They probably sell them everywhere, but I never seen them until I moved here. So they're in different thicknesses, which allows you to roll it to the exact thickness and you don't have to guess. So these ones are 1 centimeter, which is what the recipe tells me. So I'm just gonna put the baking paper over this and kind of smash it down so it's not too bad. And then I'm gonna put the sticks on the sides. And then your rolling pin has to be the same size all the way across, otherwise it's not gonna work. So then you just smash it down. And these, it's basically laying on top of these sticks. These are a thick cookie, so thick. But now it is exactly 1 centimeter and we're good to go. I'm gonna make small and medium. So you're just gonna cut these like you would any normal cookie. Okay, these are all cut out and now they're ready to sit for 24 hours. I think they can sit maybe 1 hour or 5 hours. We're just gonna let them go overnight. So now we're going to ice the Zimtstern. This is one that we bought at the grocery store. They've used the royal icing on this one, but we're just gonna use powdered sugar. All right, next on the list is the Brunsli Usually they're called the Basler Brunsli because they come from Basel. And they're basically the same as the Zimtstern, except for you put cocoa powder in there. So they're our chocolate. And they typically, instead of cutting them as a star, you can traditionally cut them in the shape of a bear or whatever Christmas cookie cutter you want to make out of them. I've made some executive decisions. I looked at a bunch of different recipes. Some of the recipes have you melt the chocolate over a double boiler and then mix it in, which totally makes sense to me. But I'm totally lazy, and thankfully a lot of the recipes said to grate the chocolate and then just put it in with the other ingredients. Just put everything in the food processor, then you don't have to hand grate it, which sounds amazing. So we're gonna try that. Okay, same as before, we're just gonna put in the egg whites. I have 3 egg whites, and we're gonna whip those. I'll start that in a second. We're gonna move over to the food processor. So I've got that bowl here. And I'm gonna put in 250 grams of ground almonds. Actually, mine's a mix of hazelnut and almond. We're going to put in the cocoa powder, which I'm using 50 grams, which was more than some recipes and less than one recipe. So we're gonna see, I think it's right in the middle. We've got 200 grams sugar, and then we've got our spices, which I'm using cinnamon and cloves. And then there's some salt, so we'll put that in. And then the chocolate, which I've just broken up a bar of chocolate, and we're gonna see if that even works. So I really hope so. Let's see what happens. So I've whipped the egg whites up to stiff peaks. We're all done with that. And I have the other ingredients that I put into the food processor, and I think it worked really well. I put my fingers through and, you know, occasionally feel like a little bit of chocolate, but actually it worked out really well. Okay, now we're gonna mix. So now we're just gonna dump this in and fold it together, which I actually read some recipes that don't do any sort of gentle folding. They just mix all of it together in the food processor, and I think next time I'll just try that. There's way too much of this to fold gently and really get it fluffy. I mean, I don't think that's gonna work. Yeah, I mean, this is just getting really dense. I mean, those eggs are not gonna retain that fluffiness. So same as before, we are going to roll this out pretty thick and cut it. It's a crumbly mess, but it's gonna come together, no worry. This Brunsli dough is delicious. I could eat all of it right now. I have never made these ones at home before. I've only had them store-bought, and I'm like, this is amazing. I can't wait to eat this. So good. I'm sure it makes a difference on which chocolate you use. I used a good one, so I'm excited. All right, now we're gonna cut it. I don't know why I have a bear, but it is traditional. So we're gonna make bears. We're gonna make mostly bears. I'm gonna make a tree because it just seems fun. I love it. The bear is totally traditional, so I'm within the realm of tradition, even though I've made my own spin on it. I'm excited. It is the next day. Yes, I'm wearing the same clothes for consistency. I have baked the Brunsli. They're amazing. They're my favorite new cookie. Love them. And I also baked these Zimtstern. They don't look any different after you bake them. They look exactly the same. You only bake them for 3 minutes. Is that even, you know, helping the eggs that are in there? I have no idea. But they're pretty good too, but I'm gonna put icing on them later. Number 3 on my list, also in the nut category, are the Vanillekerferl. These come with different names, so if you look for a recipe, they might be under Vanillehörnchen, they might be Vanillekerferl, which is basically the same word as GIPFEL, but they're basically a vanilla croissant. These are almost exactly the same as a Mexican wedding cookie, if you're familiar with those, where they're made out of ground almonds, or it could be another ground nut. I think the Mexican wedding cookies usually have pecan and walnut. And then instead of putting it into a ball, you're going to make it into a crescent shape. And then after they're done, you're going to roll them in a bunch of powdered sugar. Now we're going to make the Vanillekerferl. Pretty simple. We've got 200 grams butter. I've got 75 grams sugar plus about a teaspoon and a half of vanilla sugar, or you could use vanilla extract. I've got, how much of the almonds? 100 grams of the almonds and 250 grams of the flour. We're going to cream the butter and sugar together, and then we're going to add the flour and almonds. Oh, I'm going to put some salt in there too. have you put this into a log and chill it, and then cut it, and then form it into little croissants. My dough is very workable. I don't know why, so I'm just gonna put them into the croissants right now because I'm in a hurry. Gotta make 3 more cookies. I wanted to have a more systematic approach to what I do with this dough. I measured the 2 that I made, and they are exactly 17 grams a piece. So I thought that was very cool. I'm gonna portion of the dough, I think, into 20 grams. So I've got a little spoon here, and I'm just gonna portion all the dough, and then I'm just gonna roll each one of them. Make them into a little crescent. Those are super cute. All right, you don't need to watch me do that. Okay, now we have a problem. I have to put these in powdered sugar, and they're very delicate and also very delicious. I tried picking them up and they just fell apart. I don't know. So I'm gonna put this on a plate. This is not working. Oh, this works so much better, much better. Oh, shoot, we're gonna have some half. That's what you get when you make homemade. I'd rather have broken ones that are delicious than perfectly looking ones that don't taste very good, right? Everyone agreed? This was a huge mess, but I did learn a few things. I broke, what, 4 or 5 cookies? Not too bad. Definitely better in the plate. The bowl, no go. This is just powdered sugar with some vanilla sugar in it. They look very humble, but they are very delicious. So I would make these again. I like them. We're just gonna pause for a moment because we decided our audio was terrible. So we bought ourselves a microphone. So the audio is gonna get better, I hope, in the middle of this video. Let's go install it right now. Okay, we've installed the microphone, and I hope there's a big improvement in the sound. I'm very curious. We are moving on to cookie number 4. This is the Spitzbube. And this is the cookie that's the sandwich with the jam in the middle, and it usually has a little cutout, so it looks pretty. I have bought myself the traditional flour that has the tiny little cutouts on the middle. And also, you'll often see the Spitzbube with the little face cutout, which is cute. I found one with the star, so I think that'll be really fun. We'll do that. Okay, first we realized that we need an instruction on how to say it. I say Spitzbube, and he says that's not right. How do you say it?
Spitzbube.
That's exactly what I said. I want a vote from everyone here. I said Spitzbube. And what did you say?
Spitzbube.
That's the same thing.
No, you're saying Spitzbube.
Okay, say the 2 right after each other.
Spitzbube. Spitzbube.
Which one was the right one?
The second one.
I can't hear any difference.
Spitzbube.
Bub.
You're saying Spitzbube, but it's Spitzbube.
Spitzbube.
Yes.
Okay, good. So we're gonna start with the butter. I've got 175 grams of soft butter. I think I should have had a spatula. This is not very efficient getting this out. And we're gonna put in the sugar. This is powdered sugar. Then we're gonna mix that up. We're gonna put in the vanilla sugar, which I probably could have just put in before, the salt, and I'll put the flour in as we go. My recipe says you can put in a little bit of water, like 1 tablespoon of water if it looks excessively dry, which it does. So now our cookie dough is ready to go, but it's very buttery and soft, so it needs to be chilled. Some will have you chill it and then roll it, but I think that's totally unnecessary. We're just gonna roll this and chill it outside, and that'll go much faster because it's super thin. So we're gonna use the very thinnest. These are number 3. I hope you're doing a better job at home than I'm doing right here. Way thin on this dough. I might have to divide it onto 2. So now I'm gonna just put this out on my balcony, which it's 0 degrees outside, so that's perfect. And then when this is nice and hard, I'm gonna come back and cut the circles. So I've got these cutters with the little face, and I've got these little flowers. You're supposed to attach this little thing. So I'm gonna take the circle cutter that has the heart in the middle, and I'm gonna cut that out. And I'm first going to knock out the middle, and I'm using a chopstick here. And I'm going to use the thin end of the chopstick because there's barely any room to push in there. So I just set it down onto the cookie sheet and I push really, really lightly, and that came out okay. I've had quite a few that have been breaking. Now I thought that, why do I have to have it connected? That seems ridiculous. So at the beginning I was just cutting out the circle, putting it onto the baking sheet, and then taking the cutout. And maybe this will work with your dough, but what happened to me is that when I put the cutout in the middle, it just broke the cookie every time. You really need the circle to hold the dough together. So you absolutely have to keep these two parts together. Otherwise, it's just gonna break. Okay, we're gonna put these together. So first, the recipe says that you're supposed to dip this in powdered sugar. I don't know about that. Whoa! Okay, I got a different idea. Instead of putting it down in the powdered sugar, which I think is just matting it, I'm going to, oh, that's much better. That's much better. Okay, so I'm just gonna lightly, oh, it's so much prettier. Okay, definitely do that. I'm using regular jam. You're supposed to use a gelée, like a jelly. So this is probably not gonna work. We're gonna get a jelly and then we're gonna try it. So I'm only just doing it for you now. But I think, oh, look, that's 100% better than this one. But I can't put it on now because then it's gonna go, I can try. Now we're on cookie number 5, the Mailänderli. And this is a butter cookie that is usually cut in the shape of a flower, and then it's brushed on the top with a little egg yolk so it makes it super yellow. Honestly, I don't like the look of these. I think they look kind of sad, and the ones from the store, for me, don't taste that great. So we're gonna see how they taste today homemade. I think it's gonna be a big improvement. They're usually flavored with a hint of lemon, so I'm gonna be using lemon zest in mine today, which is from this recipe that I'm using from Tip Top. That's what they recommend. So I'm just using the straight Tip Top recipe as a baseline, and we'll see how it comes out. Okay, same with the Spitzbube. For the Mailänderli, we're going to start with creaming the butter and the sugar. So put that in there. And sugar. Now we're going to put in the egg and the salt. After adding the egg, it's supposed to be super light and fluffy, so you whip it for a really long time. I did it for maybe about 4 minutes, and now I'm going to add in my lemon zest. Now I'm just going to add my flour. I have 250 grams of flour. Only till it just comes together. Okay, our dough's ready, and we're going to roll it out between the paper. This time, so with our sticks, we're going to use the 5mm. I remembered what the numbers mean. So I'm just gonna roll that out. And now we're going to let this cool and cut it in a little bit. The Mailänderli dough, we're just gonna do hearts and stars because I don't have the flour. We are finally to cookie number 6, the Sable. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, and I'm starting to regret this project because it's taking forever. But I hope you made it this far. We're gonna do a checkerboard cookie. So it's a butter cookie flavored with vanilla sugar, and then we're going to divide the dough in half and add some cocoa powder to the second half, and then make a little checkerboard. I've never done it. I hope it looks nice, and it's gonna be a little experiment together. Let's go. Same as before, we're gonna start with the butter and the sugar. Butter, down there. Wow! And the sugar. Okay, I'm gonna add the vanilla sugar, which I probably could have done before, and the salt, and the water, I guess. Okay. Now I'm gonna add the flour. I've got 200 grams of flour. I'm gonna do it while it's mixing. Okay, this is the Sable dough, and it's pretty stiff. I am going to divide it so I can add the cocoa butter. So I'm gonna weigh it so I can get an approximate amount. Yeah, it's about equal. Good. So I'm gonna throw that one in with the cocoa powder. Okay, so now I have 4, and I'm going to roll them into logs so I can make the checkerboard. This dough is so fussy, it just wants to break apart. Oh goodness gracious. I have 4 logs. The details were slim on the recipes that I looked at, so I'm just going to use my best judgment and smash these together. I'm gonna try and make them kind of square-like. Whoa! Ugh. Yeah, they do not want to stay together at all. And we're gonna chill it and hope for the best. I wanted to make it more square, so I put the baking paper over it and then I rolled it and kind of smoothed it out into a square so it wasn't as lumpy. Oh, that'll be good. Not bad. Oh, it's adorable. Well, I don't have quite the checkerboard, but not bad for my first time. Well, I made a lot of cookies. I'm gonna have to find a lot of people to eat them. This is a little ridiculous. Let's see, conclusions. Favorite new cookie, Brunsli, delicious, love these. I think I won't air dry them next time. I like them a little softer. I still need to ice the Zimtstern, but I'm exhausted, so I'm not doing that. These are adorable and give me a lot of satisfaction, so I really like those. Spitzbube also super adorable. I like the smiley faces. I don't even think, the other ones are cute too, but I don't even think I do this, just the smiley faces. Mailänderli, not my favorite. I probably wouldn't make them again. They're not bad, they're just not that interesting. There's so many other cookies I can make, so I would probably just make a regular American style Christmas cookie and decorate it. These ones, love them. I love them when they were warm out of the oven, and you know, they're gonna get a little more dry as they go, but I thought these were fantastic. I would definitely make those again. So overall, very happy with the cookies. You know, I think that these cookies are so different from American style because they're just like a little more humble. You know, they don't have a bunch of junk like caramel and chocolate chips and coconut flakes and all these other things jammed into them, which I love, but it's just kind of something different. So yeah, I hope that you make some of these cookies on your own and enjoy them, and remember, good times in Switzerland. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you here next time for more family fun in Switzerland.